It's the Al Travis Show, and we're very lucky to have our next guest on. We like him. He's Blois Olson with the Monday Take. Good morning, Blois.
Good morning.
How's weather like this treat you? And what I mean by that is I know you itch to get out to golf because who doesn't? It's beautiful. But on the other hand, is there much busier time for you in the business than the week before the end of session?
I think after this number of years, I can manage it.
Okay. So you got yourself out this weekend?
Of course.
Good.
Look, the legislative session is, leaders and the governor negotiating, and they were up north, and they're pretty tight-lipped so far. And so, there's not a lot of hints and clues. Maybe even fewer than the Vatican trying to find a new pope. They're so tight-lipped over there. So I got out. I played golf. I relaxed. I geared myself up, and I've been a big believer that this legislative session wasn't going to end on time since January. So if they prove me wrong, it's my fault, and if I'm right, then I've been pacing myself appropriately.
Well, good. Oh, this is going to work out good either way. The lack of conversation or the knowledge of what's going on, what is out there, according to the daily agenda, is it's really coming down to, on the Democratic side, at least this is what I'm getting out of this, on the Democratic side, they're starting to fracture on whether they're willing to give anything, right?
Correct.
Whether they're willing to give up anything that they've gotten from last time.
Right. Well, you have to think about the trifecta and the way the trifecta passed their laws. They were very unified in the DFL.
Yes.
They had a one-seat majority in the Senate. They pushed through a very liberal agenda. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a lot of dissension amongst them. I even know that some of the senators woke up later and realized what they had voted for, and maybe they wanted to change that. And so there is I'd say, appetite to roll back some things, not repeal, but tweak and fix. Maybe think it goes too far. Republicans have made a big deal out of health care for undocumented Minnesotans.
Yes.
And not only are they saying we can't do that, we're saying we need that money to fund nursing homes, which then creates, I'll call it, kind of a moral values discussion.
Yeah.
And that then gives Democrats a forced choice. Which one are you going to do? Which one aren't you going to do? And so that's where I would just say those are the kinds of issues. On earned, safe, and sick time last week, 6 Democrats aligned with Republicans in the Senate and passed changes to that. I think you're going to see that on paid family medical leave. You might see it on permitting. You might see some other things. But the real challenge is that these are all the issues that they're privately, secretly negotiating.
Okay.
Which means we don't really know. We might not see the robust public debate that we might expect, and that always doesn't sit right with me.
No, this whole idea that you get 4 or 6 of them in a room and they'll figure everything else out, all the rest of this has been kind of a show thing, bothers me. But the governor on like the paid the illegal Minnesota Care for illegal Minnesotans, even he, I don't want to say waffled, but he came out again in the Daily Agenda. I read something about, we might have to change the red line somewhere, but of course children will always need to get vaccinated or something like that. So even he's moved. I don't know, moved right is the right word on that, right? He's even moved a little bit on that.
He's willing to compromise. Yeah.
And is that to get something else, is my point, I guess, is that if you really want this, what is it the governor wants real bad out of all this?
Well, that's the interesting thing about this governor.
Okay.
We never know what he really wants because he's been very different than other governors. Other governors are like, here's what I need, let's negotiate this. He has said, let the legislature bring me things, and then I'll decide. He's vetoed one bill in 6 years, 7 years. That tells you all you need to know about the way he deals with the legislature. And I think this kumbaya negotiation creates, Al, it's like if you sit in a room long enough with people and you disagree, eventually you just want to get out of the room.
Is that what they're doing, wearing each other down just to see?
I believe that is a big part of it. I think they're wearing each other down.
So, well, let me go to break first, if you don't mind. Let's go to break first. When we come back, what I'd like to ask you about, just quick, Representative Lisa Damath, Speaker Damath, she came out, no new taxes. That was going to be what she was going to stand on. I want to ask on the other side, because we're talking about what the Democrats might be willing to give up. Will the Republicans, in your mind, when we come back, will they be willing to move on that one thing that they said out loud that they were going to stick to no matter what? We'll talk about it coming up in a second. I've got him. He's the guy. It's Blois Olson with the Daily Agenda and the Monday Take on the Al Travis Show. More right after this. It's Monday Take from the Daily Agenda with Blois Olson. So my question comes from this angle, is that the Republicans, no new taxes, we're not going to do that. But then they came out a couple of weeks back and they start saying things like, well, you know, we're 1/6 of the entire thing here. And I started seeing them wobble. They're going to have to give a little something, aren't they? One of the governor's proposal is lowering taxes, but widening them out to services and that sort of thing. Or putting in, what do they call it when they charge not a fee, right? Get a fee. Is that how they're going to get around that? Because they're going to have to give something as well.
Well, I mean, yes, and I think that's the calculation. That's the strategy here. What is it that the narrative is going to be once they don't finish on time? Republicans are saying no. I think for a few weeks they're going to say, oh, we're still working on it. This is challenging. We're a divided state. But I think, look, Republicans have a long history of accepting fees, even though they say they won't accept fees. So don't think that increased licenses on, increased costs on fishing licenses and stuff like that isn't, in the works.
On the table,
I think it's on the table.
Yeah.
The broadening of the sales tax, I don't think works. And the reason is because it is going to create a big issue for business. And business, the increased cost of business in Minnesota is already an issue. And I think Republicans know it. And I don't think they have DFL votes for it. So, for instance,
go ahead.
You have DFLers who are lawyers.
Yes. All of a sudden they're taxed.
All of a sudden they have to do taxes. Probably not in their best interest. Yeah. So I think that's going to be tough for the governor to do. Yeah. And again, it puts out this narrative like, oh, only rich people have investment bankers or investment advisors. Well, guess what? Those are also the people who already pay the most taxes and provide the jobs in Minnesota. So you might not want to irk them anymore, I think, and I think there's some Democrats who feel the same way about that.
Well, and it'd be a heck of a PR move to say, we're not increasing taxes, we're just spreading the burden. Well, if you aren't paying taxes currently and now you got a tax guy coming in and helping you work out your tax payments, you feel like you got a new tax.
Well, let's say it this way, Al. Better yet.
Go ahead.
Governor would say, I lowered taxes.
Yeah.
I lowered the sales tax.
Yeah.
And then we'd have a whole debate next year if he runs for re-election on what that really meant.
Yeah.
And
Do we get a feeling yet? Do we know? Is he inkled at all? Is just nothing going to come his way as far going for governor until after the session's done?
I think we won't know for sure until after the session, but he gave a hint last week that he was raising the necessary resources to do it. I've been on both sides of this one. I thought he was going to run for sure. Now, then I didn't think he was going to run. Now I think he's probably going to run, but he's still got time to make up his mind.
And one last, I thought, interesting. Well, I mean, there's plenty of interesting things in the Daily Agenda. Don't take that wrong. The last one I can get into before we go out of time. The bonding. They didn't bond last time, which was the bonding year. This is not the bonding year. It's all about budget. But as I think it was Senator Pappas said, we're not going to probably get two bonding bills done in a row. She'd like over $1 billion in bonding. Senator Housley, who comes from the program quite a little bit, I would say, was in the same boat. She really wants a bonding bill done this year, but only $700 million. Do either of those even stand a chance? We can't get done the work we got to get done.
Well, you'll just have a smaller bonding bill if they get it done, and I believe a bonding bill is part of the master negotiations.
Oh, it is. So okay,
I think it'll be somewhere between 700 and 1.3. How about that, Al?
But you mean between what the two people want? Really, that's putting yourself out on a limb there, my friend. But then does that take pressure off next year's all bonding? Or they're going to say we just spent out let's say it's $1 billion. They spent $1 billion this year.
Republicans would want two bills. I think there'll be an appetite for another bonding bill next year if the economy is, what it is. I mean, the reality is the state needs some of that bonding money to keep the economy going, because if they don't have those construction jobs and unemployment rates go up, then we have a bigger problem in the state.
Fair enough. You got the daily agenda. How does someone pick up any one of the? How many do you do? I got a list here. Hold on. I should have had that ready.
There's 3 or 4 a day, Al. You go to thedailyagenda.com and you can sign up right there. And we'll deliver you news morning, noon, and before dinner.
Okay.
But not night. We're not going to bug you at night, Al.
No, heavens no. There's the morning take, the lunch take, the ag take, the health take, the sports take. I take all those. I take the Minnesota Good. But I don't. The podcast. What's the podcast thing? That's new to me.
Well, we have a Sunday show. We have Fresh 15. We have interviews with legislators. Just try to keep you smarter, Al.
There's just so much. All right, I appreciate you, my friend. TheDailyAgenda.com. Go there. All it takes is clicking a button, tell me what your email address is, and you're in the club. Appreciate you being here, my friend.
Yep, see ya.
He's Blois Olson with the take on the Al Travis Show, the Monday take. Get it at The Daily Agenda, dailyagenda.com. More coming up right after this.